Water is essential for survival, but finding it can be really difficult in many environments. Whether you live in these areas or you find yourself visiting or stuck, knowing how to source water can be a lifesaver. Arid deserts. Imagine your vehicle has broken down in the vast, sun-baked expanse of a desert. Maybe you're on your way to Vegas and now you're stranded. With the nearest town miles away, finding water might become a critical survival skill. In deserts, you can construct a solar still to extract moisture from the soil. Dig a deep hole in a sunlit area, preferably near any vegetation you happen to find. Place a container at the bottom and cover the hole with plastic sheeting. Secure the edges with rocks and place a small stone in the center of the sheet above the container. The heat will cause moisture to condense and drip into the container. Additionally, certain cacti, like the barrel cactus, contain drinkable water, but you need to be careful because some parts can be toxic. Remember, not every cactus is safe to collect water from. If you think you'll be there a while, dew collection may be an option. Use a clean cloth to wipe the dew off any vegetation, your car, or anywhere else it may have settled. Wring out the cloth into a container. It may not be a lot, but every drop counts. And another tip for our desert location, look for any washouts or areas where it appears water may run through when it rains. Dig a hole in this area. You most likely will find that water seeps into the hole, which you can then collect, purify, and drink. And don't forget, you have a valuable survival tool, your car. The car battery may help you start a fire. Any aluminum rims or parts could be used to boil water. Car mirrors can also be used to start a fire if the sun is strong enough and to direct sunlight onto water to purify it. Mountainous regions. You're hiking in the mountains when a sudden weather change leaves you stranded. Streams or melting snow can be life-saving water sources. Collecting and boiling snow or ice is your best bet. Avoid colored or dirty snow, which can be contaminated. If you find a stream, try to follow it uphill to ensure the water is as fresh as possible. If heading uphill isn't possible, then try following the stream downhill, where you're more likely to find a larger body of water to source from. If neither of these are options, collect the water you can get to. Always purify the water through boiling or using purification tablets to avoid pathogens. If you don't have a way to create fire or any tablets, collect the snow in a clean piece of fabric and place it close to your body, allowing your body heat to melt the snow. Some other ways to find water in mountains includes pay attention to animal tracks or bird flights, as they often lead to water sources. Insects are also more common near water. If there's any precipitation, use any available containers or tarps to collect rain. Even a makeshift funnel created from a large leaf or a piece of clothing can be effective. If you are indeed stuck, remember your knowledge of collecting morning dew, which should be pretty significant if the mountain is full of trees. Spread out any absorbent materials like cloth, towels, or even articles of clothing over grassy areas, bushes, or any cold surfaces overnight. These materials can collect a surprising amount of dew. Once your material is saturated with the dew, wring it out over a container to collect the water. Be sure you collect it early in the morning before the sun is fully up. Coastal areas. Stranded on a remote coastal area? Fresh water sources are rare, but you can utilize techniques to desalinate seawater. Construct a simple distillation kit using pots, a lid, and a small cup, or anything you can find that simulates these items. Rocks and shells are a couple of the possibilities. Boil the seawater and capture the steam in the lid, letting it condense and drip into a separate clean container. Keep an eye out for freshwater springs that may emerge at the coast, especially during low tide. Coastal areas typically have higher water tables. This means you can dig for fresh water by heading inland beyond the high tide mark. Fresh water will float on top of the heavier salt water. And use your eyes. Most plants don't survive in salt water. If you see green plants near your location but not on the beach, chances are pretty good that digging under these will produce some fresh water. And before we leave this environment, one last idea. Some species of palms, like the coconut palm, naturally store fresh water within their trunks. In emergency situations, you can tap into a palm tree to access this water. Urban environments. Finding yourself needing water in an urban disaster scenario requires some creativity. Rainwater harvesting is a viable option. Use any containers you can find to collect rain from gutters, rooftops, or balconies. Be cautious with water from rivers or ponds in the cities, as it's often polluted. In abandoned or unused buildings, water heaters or toilet reservoirs can provide an emergency water supply, though all of this water should always be purified. And if you need more ideas about urban water sources, I've done an entire video on this subject, and I'll link it in the description. Forest areas. Lost in the woods? Forests are usually pretty rich in water sources, thank God. Look for rivers, streams, or lakes, which are common in these dense environments. Collecting rainwater or dew with a clean cloth can also be effective. If you find a muddy area, dig a hole and allow it to fill with water. This can be filtered and purified. Certain trees and plants can collect or store water. For example, vine species like the grapevine can be cut to allow water to drip out. Be cautious to correctly identify the plant as non-toxic before you attempt this. In all of these scenarios, be sure the water is safe for drinking. Use purification tablets, filters, or boil the water to eliminate harmful organisms. Remember, you can make a rudimentary but pretty effective filter in every single one of these environments. Knowing these techniques increases your ability to stay hydrated and safe, no matter where you are and no matter what you're facing.